Hello, I'm Admiral Ellis of the TTO, and welcome to the Sci-Fi universe. Today we're going to be going over ship-to-ship weaponry, and how it kind of evolved. I mean, I can't cover everything, but I have up now the four main types of weapons that I could think of just off the top of my head. I mean, there are a lot of other ones, but we have the Atlantean ship-to-ship drone weapons or ship-to-ground or anything. They're just homing missiles, essentially. We have the Asgard beam weapons that were eventually installed on human ships in the 2000s and up until about the 2200 mark, where stuff happened and we kind of lost a lot of technology. There was a very large setback there. And then we have the phaser arrays on Federation ships, which are actually very, very similar to this, and they're similar in design and how they operate. So it's at Mabel's we haven't drawn a correlation yet, other than they are very similar, but it would make sense if they had gotten schematics from older ships, or this, that, and the other. Just a plethora of different ways that the Federation could have gained this technology instead of creating it themselves. Which, it's not to say that they didn't, but from what we've seen so far, it was acquired. It kind of appeared out of nowhere. And then we have the Mac cannon, magnetic accelerator. I guess you can't call it a Mac cannon, because that's redundant. It's a magnetic accelerator cannon. That's what MAC stands for. And it may look like a laser, but it's not. It is a slug, usually of depleted uranium, that is fired at very high speeds out of a barrel lined with magnetic coils to propel it extremely quickly. Now, there are very, very important differences between these kinds of weapons, the era in which they operated, who had them. I mean, primarily these were all human-created weapons, and then we could get into weapons like the Klingons' weapons and the Wraith weapons, and what are some other ones? Replicators are a weapon. They were created by the Alterans, and they are basically their own weapon, but they do use the Alteran technology, so they have drone weapons instead as well. Who else? The Ori. What do the Ori use? Oh, they use a gigantic pulse. It's basically an overpowered disruptor cannon, except a very, very powerful one. Yeah, of course, overpowered makes sense, but a lot of people, or a lot of races went towards the sort of plasma shooting. Look at Covenant weaponry. With glass and beams, that's plasma that they're launching down onto the surface. Not pure energy, but superheated gas. Pure energy is a phaser is pure energy. An Asgard beam is pure energy. It's in super intense lasers, essentially, that can, because you have the phaser array on the front of the ship. Take into note that the phasers you actually see on Federation ships are less efficient than the Asgard beams that were on the earlier human ships, like the Daedalus, which is something to note. We lost that technology completely at some point, and then we gained it back partially. But the phaser array at the front of the ship is just pulsating with energy. You have to charge it up. It has to be charged. And then you can basically outlet it because of how it's built. You can, what's the word? It's all like semi-silvered mirrors in there, so that the lasers bounce back and forth across the contour of the ship. Let me just bring this up. There weren't too many good pictures that I could find. This is actually different. This can only fire forward, but if I get... What's another picture that I saw? It's kind of crappy, but it was down here somewhere. It was down a couple layers. This one, where it's coming out at an odd angle from the ship. It's coming out of the bottom of the ship and going and destroying something. Now that's one of the more advanced phaser arrays that they built kind of after the fact, where it can launch out in any direction. This, this is just essentially a straight laser beam. There's no, it can change course slightly, but you have to be aimed at whatever you're shooting at most of the time. I thought that the Enterprise, what is this, A, had some sort of array on top that would allow it to do that kind of stuff, but I guess it does not. So yeah, this is a dish in which it can unleash at in any direction. You see how it's coming out of the front here, and it's coming out of the bottom here, or it's going in that direction. Then we have photon torpedoes, which are essentially guided missiles, and that's all that is. It's a guided missile. You know, they're big enough to fit a body inside, unfortunately, for Spock. Well, you know, he came back, but he came back because of the Genesis device. But if you want to go watch that Star Trek trilogy, go ahead. It's an excellent series of movies. I would recommend it, even though they're getting a little bit dated. They're still good movies. Just if people get enthralled in special effects and that's all they care about, they're not going to be the movies for you anymore, because the special effects are a little behind the times considering how old they are. Back to weaponry. This photon torpedoes made me remember about this here. These are drones. Let me find a pic. That's one of them. This is a drone. Essentially, they're homing missiles. They're very, very powerful. We're not sure how to create them just yet. As of this recording, Mabel's is yet to determine. Mabel's is yet to determine exactly how to recreate the drones, and we are essentially harvesting them from older ships and putting them on the newer, better equipped ones. Eventually we're going to figure it out. We have a lot of smart people working there, and if we actually get an Alterran on board, like we hope to, then it'll make things a lot easier. We'll probably be able to manufacture ZPMs as well. So the Asgard beam and this. I believe I was on a train of thought with these, but I lost it already. So yeah, these are shipboard mech cannons. They're much more powerful than the Onager, which is this thing. I believe this is the Onager. Ellis mech cannon. I believe, yeah, it's the one found on Reach that you have to sit in and shoot down the things at the end of Halo Reach. In order for Key's Pelican to get back up to the Pillar of Autumn. Because there are very few discrepancies in terms of lore in the Halo universe as what's recorded and what's being given out. And the Pillar of Autumn was in orbit while Noble Team was delivering the package. So you wouldn't be delivering... that whole ending cinematic with the Pillar of Autumn taking off and leaving would not have been there. You give the package to Captain Keyes, but he cannot leave because it's essentially a war zone. So the Pelican kind of sits in the backfield, and you have to take out all of the ships in the Onager. Or not you, but the Noble 6 had to. Yeah, I know. Stop it. Let's find a better picture of the Onager. This one. What the hell? I thought this was... Never mind. I thought that was an actual detailed explanation of what it was, but it apparently was not. This looks like a more legit diagram. This is the onager itself, or a drawing of it. It's a very nice drawing, very good drawing. And then there's like Cairo Station. This is from Halo 2. This is one of the big stick. I'm making air quotes. You can't see it. Hold on. The big stick kind of weapons where they're very, very, very powerful mat guns. They can just splinter ships' shields and things like that. Also, shields. I'm probably going to devote another episode to shields. But we have all these different kinds of weaponry. You can see there's these ordnance, not necessarily ordnance because they don't explode on impact. They just are gigantic bullets, essentially. And then we have laser beams, and then rockets. This is an ordnance weapon right here. It's homing missiles. The only thing I didn't cover was plasma weapons. So if we scroll on over to here, and let's see. Let's see if this will give me a legitimate thing. What? Okay, never mind. I don't know why that's there. I would like to see... Maybe not plasma. Hold on. Glassing beam. That's better. This is... that's plasma. That's concentrated plasma, and I don't know why they don't do it that way in space. But... what is this? I think that's grafton. Probably not. The Covenant actually do have laser beams on their super carriers. They have a kind of white beam that can cut through basically anything. What is this? Oh, an Executor class Star Destroyer. Oh yeah, not to mention these guys went with plasma cannons too, just because they're easy to build. They're some of the easiest things. Just superheat gas and then magneticize it and then propel it out of the end of a barrel. What is this? What is this? I'll have to take a look at that, because a lot of these maps, because they only incorporate one kind of thing, because they only incorporate one singular... oh, what's the word? One universe, they don't actually have everything in them. What is this? Oh, it's the end of one of the levels in Halo Reach. I see a cruiser. It's not just any cruiser. Hey, never mind. Yeah, so Eclipse class Super Star Destroyer. So yes, this is a Covenant supercarrier. They are 27 kilometers long, and they kind of just wreck everything. And they have a gigantic laser beam that will also wreck everything. They are very destructive ships. But, you know, they're warships. They're kind of designed to do that. This is the glassing beam. This is the end of Halo Reach. Halo Reach, you actually get a good view of different kinds of Covenant weapons. Is this New Alexandria? I can't tell. Oh crap, I should really go. So, as always, if you have questions about the universe, send me an email. It'll be in the description. And keep looking at the stars.